If your child has asked if they can play Minecraft, you might have wondered what the game's about and whether your child is safe playing it. The reality is there are two big risks that your child faces when they play Minecraft without any supervision. The two biggest risks that your child could face when playing Minecraft is in-game purchases and online chats with strangers, both of which should be controlled by you as a parent. As you can see, millions and millions, hundreds of millions of people play this game, so it's very possible that your child wants to be them or is one of them already. How Minecraft works is with user-generated content, so the owners of Minecraft, Microsoft, do not necessarily control everything that's created or that your child sees. But do not worry, there are plenty of settings that you can put in place with parental controls in order to manage and supervise what your child is doing in this digital playground so they can use it for creativity and fun. The main thing to be aware of is that you can set how they spend money in their account, and you can see how that's spent, and you need to know who all their friends in this game are. Every single friend that your child has online should be someone whose face you know and who you have spoken to. They shouldn't have strangers who they've met online. The rest of this video is going to look at the parent settings for Minecraft and will explain how you can best protect your child when they're playing this game. So let's start by signing up for a family account with Microsoft. So you go to signup.live.com. And here you create a Microsoft account. This is if you don't have one already. And you can do this with a Gmail address. It doesn't have to be a paid for Microsoft account to get the settings that you need for parental control. So let's start by creating an adult account. But what we're also able to do is if you create a child account, if you put your child's date of birth, you can also create an account for them. So I now have my Microsoft account, which I have created. As I said, this is a free account. Now we're going to go to family.microsoft.com. And this is where we can create a family profile. So here I am. And what I'm going to do is there's all these other tools that you can use. But let's start by adding a family member. So you can choose when you add a family member if you want them to be a member or an organizer who's able to edit the safety settings too. So because this is a child, we're going to make them a member. And my child doesn't have an email account, so I'm going to create one for them. So what I want to do is I want to get a new email address. And let's make it Dimitri Jr. And now we've created an email address for the child. Let's put in a password. I'm going to use a strong password. And let's make our child born in 2020, so they're a nice fresh 6-year-old. Let's not get tips. And let's see if it'll accept that I'm a human. Sometimes there's problems with this where it thinks you're a bot, depending on the cookies you have in your history. So let's have a look at this, if it'll accept me. So here I'm giving consent for Dimitri's account. So most websites, in fact, where you sign up have a rule that the person signing up should be older than 18, including most email providers. So because we're giving a child who's under 18, there's a whole lot of information we can see, and I'm going to sign in my signature to show that I am the parent. And let's agree. It's always a good idea to read this information, but who really does? Let's be honest. Okay, now I don't want my child. This is purely for Minecraft, So I'm going to unclick this. I don't want them to go sign into Roblox, for example, using this account. So we're going to specify that it's only for Microsoft apps in this case. So what you see is that I have now created an account. The member has been added. Now, this console allows you to connect to devices that your child will be using. It does not communicate very well with iPhones or iPads. So I'm going to talk you through some other solutions for if that's the device your child is working on. But first, let's look at some of the settings we can adjust. So the one is you can decide what the limits are for how long they can play on these devices. So you want to make the limit maybe 30 minutes on a Sunday. Between 8:30 they're allowed to play it in the morning so that you can sleep in. Between 8:30 and 11:30 they can have their half an hour, and you can then make settings that are standard for the week where they're allowed to do it when they finish their homework. So they can do it from 2:30 till 5:30, and that's when they're allowed to have their 15 minutes during the week. So set the schedule, and we can do that for the different devices that they might play on, depending on which they're going to play. We're not going to look at connecting a device right now. Then we can look at the settings. So because this was a 6-year-old child, by default, these should be off, but I am going to ask permission for each purchase. This is because the two biggest risks that we have on these games is that your child may chat to bad actors who you don't want them to communicate with, or they might spend money that they shouldn't be spending. So you just double check. If you look on spending, you make sure that it requires approval for every purchase. This is if you've added a card. If your child has money or a gift card in their Microsoft account balance, firstly, if you didn't put it there, there's something fishy going on because it means someone else did. And secondly, you can come in here and check the balance and then talk to your child about how they might want to spend the money that you've put into their account. So this is something to keep track of. Now what we want to do is we want to make sure that wherever your child signs in, the settings are very specific to what you want them to be able to see and do. So we're going to go to account.xbox.com/settings and sign in with our parent account. And here, this is the child's account, and you see there's 3 tabs: privacy, Windows and Xbox, and message safety. And here you're able to go look step by step what you want your child to be able to do. So using video is blocked. Most of these are blocked by default because this child is 6 years old. And here you're able to say what you want your child to be able to see. So you can look through all of these details of how this is used. Finally, secondly, you can see on these other devices what they're able to do. Add friends and follow others. You can decide if that's what you want your child to do. And then message safety. This is one of the really important ones. You want to decide what your child can have access to in messages. Media received in messages, I would keep it all blocked. Media in message requests, so you don't know what's coming in with media. So I would block all of those things and can't look at filtered content. So once you submit this, then you've given quite specific settings to your child. And then when they go sign in on their account using the email address you made with them, wherever they sign on, these settings will apply to that account, whether it's on a mobile device, an Xbox, or a computer. The main thing to always be checking and always be aware of is that if your child signs in on a different profile, then you won't have these permissions or these controls. So make sure that you always go and check where your child is signed in. You can do spot checks on their devices. The main thing to remember is that you are the one in control here. So you can put in place technical guardrails like linking to your account and setting restrictions. But you can also empower your child by explaining to them how reporting and blocking works in a way that it protects their community. What's also important is the active engagement with your child. So make sure you have open dialogue so that they understand that you're aware of what it is that they're seeing and doing online, and that you care about it, and that they start to understand not only the risks, but the benefits of playing in these creative places. So if I could leave you with one thought, it's that these games aren't going anywhere, and your child is going to engage with them. It's your example when it comes to interacting with these games that will decide how your child plays on them and uses them in a safe way.